What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to give you guys a preview of what's happening for next week for the markets, and also in 2 weeks as we have something very important coming out. And what the charts are suggesting is we're going to be approaching a very critical support on SPY, in my opinion. But before I begin the devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble and deposit $500, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just about 2 days from now. Anyways, for SPY, I just wanted to mention we have a double top leg structure that's been developing right now, but on the 4-hour time frame, we're actually trying to hold our 543 support near our 50 EMA. So that's going to be our next critical level. If we end up losing that or closing below that, there's going to be a big dip coming. If we hold this, we're going to be looking for a nice bounce. So I'll break down more information about this in just a few minutes. I first wanted to mention that the market is closed a little bit lower for today, but if you look at the AI trades out there, they've driven a 14.5% gain in the first half of 2024, still up quite a bit. And the question is, how will things continue from here? Just note that the first half of the year, the first half of the year is over. The second quarter is over, and June has ended, at least for trading. The next time the market opens is going to be on Monday. And for Monday, we're going to be seeing basically the first July. The first day of July is going to be when we have trading again, and that's going to be very important. Now, for data, just note that for the week, we have manufacturing numbers on Monday. On Tuesday, we have JOLTS numbers for the jobs openings, and we also have Jerome Powell giving a speech on Tuesday. And then for Wednesday, we have very important data coming out for the ISM services and new orders and such. And then Thursday just notes that it's going to be the 4th of July. So it's going to be a national holiday here in the USA for Independence Day. So the US is going to be closed on July 4th. There's not going to be day trading on Thursday, and we will resume back on Friday. So just keep that in the back of your minds, guys. Market's going to be closed. On Thursday, we have a shorts trading week. It's going to be very unusual. It's going to be closed on a Thursday before we continue. So very interesting stuff. The fear and greed index is also on fear. Kind of in the middle between fear and neutral, but more towards fear. And we're also seeing market momentum kind of more towards extreme greed. This is shifting a little bit as we're pretty far from the 125 daily moving average. Looking at other factors, I just wanted to mention that the puts and call option positioning is currently at extreme greed. Greed is making up the majority of sentiment, and that's going to be very important for us. Not to mention the fact that market volatility is still quite neutral. So things are still shifting. We're still seeing the market at a very, very high valuation. We're still seeing a lot of buyers stepping in, but fear is still kind of like stepping in. It's not as fearful as before. We're getting very close to neutral, but there are some shifts here and there. As far as earnings go, I just want to say that for next week, don't really have anything because it's going to be the 4th of July week. Earnings season is going to start officially the week after next week. And I would say specifically on July 12th. So we have just about 2 weeks away until we get officially start earnings because that's when we have the big banks officially starting their earnings report. It's going to be July 12th. So we still have quite some time until then. We'll see what the market does. The big bank earnings are going to be very important during a time like this. I can't wait to see how this affects the markets. So what's going on with SPY? What is my prediction, at least for this moving forward? Honestly, guys, there's not much I can really say because we're still technically range bound. SPY has been stuck between supply and demand, going back and forth and back and forth. The levels we marked were, if we broke past 547, look for a push for the 550 area. And we called this move. It did happen thanks to the PCE report coming out very close to expectations. So PCE was decent. The market pumped up to 550. Things were awesome. But then instead of holding up, the market got a big rejection. And SPY came back down to 543. Then it bounced back up to 545. So you guys could see we kind of pumped very nicely. We got a big rejection. Then we ended up bouncing again on the 4-hour time frame. Is this about to lead to more upsiders, or are we about to see downside? Honestly, guys, it really depends on the levels because we need to break past 550 to turn bullish. But as you guys can see, the resistance is very tough up there. The moment we hit 550, we got a rejection, and SPY started to show some weakness. If we had lost 543, we would turn even more bearish, and that would open the doors for the gap fill below. But we've been stuck. If you look at the last, I don't know, like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks on SPY, we've been stuck between 543, this 542 to 543 is our support zone. Then we have resistance at 550. It's been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we're still range bound on SPY. We're going to be waiting to see what the next move is going to be. But I want to call out 543. If we get a close below that, I think that the daily still has that big gap to fill. And if we do get a rejection, we could still come back down to fill this gap around 537. It's still an open possibility, especially because SPY pushed to 550 only to reject. So the odds do favor this actually coming down again. We'll be watching 543 if we kind of rebound a bit and then start sinking lower to establish a lower high. There could be a big rejection coming, and this could be leading us for that first gap to get filled. We need to lose 543 for confirmation going into next week. So far, the daily chart is showing a little bit of weakness, but we'll see how this continues. Looking at the 4 hour on Nvidia, Nvidia is starting a bit of a downtrend here. Now, we could be forming a flag like this, but this depends on if we get a bounce or not off these levels. So I think Nvidia is kind of range bound, kind of going back and forth in this channel. So I think going into next week, we might retest 525. We'll see if we break out of this or not. If we fail, we may continue to sink and just continue to downtrend all the way back down to 120. So far, Nvidia is downtrending, at least for the shorter term. But if we look at the longer term, we're still technically a lot higher than where we were before. And we'll have to see if we end up getting some kind of reversal. One could also argue that we have a diamond reversal like structure. I wouldn't really count on that just yet. There's no confirmation of us breaking down or anything like that yet. So I'm just going to focus for now on the channel that's developing right here on Nvidia. This could be leading to a big flag. So we will see if we get a breakout or not. But that's what I'm mainly paying attention to. I'm going to be very patient in the process nonetheless. How about for Bitcoin? Bitcoin's looking a little bit bearish on the 4 hour time frame, getting a big rejection right over here. But make sure you watch 60,000. If we lose this, we'll be looking for a dip. Right now, it's looking weaker. We have a double top like structure. It does favor downside, so that's looking a bit more probable to me. For the QQQ, we have a nice looking structure. We did push up to about 487.5, establish a lower high, and we kind of rejected here. So this could be a sign that the market may get a little rejection. Possibly, we look kind of weak on the 4 hour. I am anticipating a test of 477 next week, a little dip, and we'll see if we bounce or not. But there is a risk of it kind of dipping, in my personal opinion. So what could be happening is we had this top of the structure right here in the 490 area, very close to 490, a little bit under that. Then we came back down, we established a lower high, and then we're going to continue to sink. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. If we dip lower, make sure you watch this 477 areas key support. If we lose this, we'll be looking for a bigger dip. If you hold this, we will try to rebound. But I'm seeing some signs that this could continue to sink, and we'll give it some time. For Tesla is looking more bullish on the 4 hour time frame as we have a nice inverse head and shoulders. Now, this is looking very strong. We already pumped so much up to 200, guys. Tesla was on fire. Now, just because it pumps like crazy doesn't mean it has to pump forever. This might retrace a little bit, just a little bit, right before we get deliveries. So I think we might fill this wick here, and we might be coming back down to 195, then kind of shuffle and consolidate. And then deliveries will determine if Tesla gets a big pump back up to 220 or if we're about to get a big rug pull. This depends on deliveries, so we'll just have to wait and see. But I personally believe that we're going to most likely see a little bit of a dip on Tesla just temporarily on Monday, and then their deliveries will determine if we get a huge bounce or not. So I'll be waiting for that, in my personal opinion. For Apple stock, I'm seeing a little bit of weakness on the charts. The 4 hour is showing we're going to dip to about 209. If we lose that, we'll be dipping back down to 207. If we hold this, we could try to rebound, but I'm seeing some signs that this could end up rejecting, at least from here. So I'm seeing a little bit of weakness on Apple for the time being. For Supermicro, there's a possible head and shoulders like structure that's developing. So I'm seeing a weakness on this chart, and we still haven't filled this imbalance. So I'm starting to suspect that this is going to dip to 800. And then if that fails, 780 is coming. So I'm seeing some weakness on Supermicro, but we have to watch for confirmation just to be safe. This is a very tricky chart, so we will see. But just note that that is what I'm seeing, at least thus far, for a possible head and shoulders. Now I'm going to go over just a few more real quick. Coinbase could be rejecting here. If we do dip lower, I'll be looking for a test of about 217. I am seeing some signs of that potentially forming. We could also be forming a flag. Amazon, we're going to be testing 192.29. If we bounce off this, we're going back up to about 195. If we lose 192, we're going to be dipping back down to 188. So I'll be watching. I am seeing a weakness on the chart. And let me just go over a few more before I conclude this, since the weekend's coming up. 504, if we lose this on Meta, we're going to be looking for a dip to this imbalance around 498. If we hold this, we rebound. That looks a little bit weak to me. And that's what I'm seeing, at least on the 4 hours for the time frame. So with that being said, that's what I'm seeing, at least seeing for the markets, guys. I am seeing some risks of downside, but we're waiting to see if SPY and the QQQ lose some critical supports. We haven't lost our key supports yet. So we'll give the market some time and then see how it ends up going. But with that being said, I just want to say I really appreciate every single one of you so much for being amazing, for watching my videos, providing very, very kind comments. And for the people out there, I just want to say I really appreciate all you guys so much. So just be prepared for next week. It's going to be a short trading week. We just have the 4th of July on Thursday. The market's going to be closed for then. And then things will get really serious, I would say, starting once we get the big bank earnings around July 12th. So I can't wait to see what happens. We're going to be very patient in the process, and we will see how things go from here. With that being said, thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.